'Twas an Arnold Palmer, and that's the wrong camera angle. There we go. Welcome back to Popcorn Poppin. I need to mute this because we're now on, what's it called? We're now on Instagram too. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram. All right, sorry about that. Sorry for the silliness. I did just get back a little bit ago, but let's do the intro in case you don't know what the show is. Welcome back to Popcorn Poppin' Live, your weekly movie, TV, and streaming guide. You don't have time to figure out what to watch. There's too much content in the world, and you can't be wasting your time. So let me waste my time for you by watching everything that's vaguely interesting and advising you on what's poppin' and what ain't. We should probably figure out a way to shorten that. Tonight, we will go over American Fiction. I got to shut off this thing that says we'll be right back. There we go. Tonight, American Fiction, The UnderDoggs, Napoleon, Anatomy of a Fall, Night Swim, and Griselda. That's the only new television show that I watched this week. But first, let's talk about the Oscar nominations just a little bit. They recently released what got nominated and what didn't. I guess they didn't release what didn't get nominated. That would take forever. But they did release who was nominated. We're not going to go over snubs, and we're not going to go over this like little by little. I think that is devoted to a whole nother episode containing awards just themselves. In other words, it'll take me way too long to go over all of them. But let's just go over the best actor, best female actor, best picture. Best actor, Paul Giamatti for Holdovers, for show. Bradley Cooper for Maestro, for show. Coleman Domingo for Rustin, for show. Cillian Murphy, Oppenheimer, for show. Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction, for show. Yeah. Although I didn't watch Rustin. I just really like Coleman Domingo. Rustin is one of the few films I have left. Oh, no, we're not onto that yet. Sorry. Okay. Here are the best movie. No, we'll do that in a second. All right, Best Actress nominees included Emma Stone for Poor Things, which is not a big surprise. Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon, not a big surprise. Annette Bening for Nyad, haven't watched. That's also on the list. I really like Annette Bening. If you don't remember her, she's from American Beauty. Carey Mulligan for Maestro, fuck yeah. And Sandra Hüller for Anatomy of a Fall. Yeah, for sure. This is a very solid list. And just so we can clear the air, what's the thing that most people are talking about is Ryan Gosling being nominated and not Greta Gerwig or Margot Robbie. I couldn't remember her name for a second. Usually I don't talk about things outside of film, but the one thing that I will say is Ryan Gosling, yeah, I want him to be nominated. As silly as it is, it's a silly role, but he fucking knocked it out of the park. It was kind of surprising unless you saw it in films like Nice Guys or other comedies. I can't really think of many comedies besides like rom-coms that he's done specifically with Emma Stone, but I know he's done comedy before this. In any case, it wasn't that big of a surprise that he was nominated, and I think I would have been pretty surprised if Margot Robbie was nominated. Not to say that she did a bad job, but in comparison to Ryan Gosling, which you're not supposed to do, I thought like not only does Ryan Gosling not do roles usually like this, but Margot Robbie, she definitely has range. Don't get me wrong. She can be hilarious too, surprisingly, and she can be really dramatic. I've discussed on this show that some of the best acting I've ever seen was actually in Barbie from Margot Robbie in the scene where she thinks that she meets her maker. She sees the little girl at school, goes up to her and says, "Hey, I'm your toy. I bet you're happy to see me." And she goes, "No, you're everything that's wrong with America, and you make females feel bad for themselves." Margot Robbie does an excellent job of appearing to be happy and that her feelings aren't being hurt and also dying inside in that scene. She starts crying, smiling. She goes, "Excuse me, I'll be right back." And it's such a great twist of emotions when it comes to smiling and sadness and trying to contain yourself. And you're still playing a toy, but you're a person. I don't know. It was really, 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 really good. For that scene alone, I would have been down for her to be nominated. But, and not to say she wasn't excellent throughout it, but she didn't wow me as much as Ryan Gosling wowed me watching Barbie, you know, but he had more to work with. And none of this is negative to Margot, but it's mostly me just saying, chill the fuck out. Emma Stone, I would say, did a better job than Margot. And I'm not trying to compare people, but it is an award competition. So let's go over the list real quick. Emma Stone, I prefer Emma Stone versus Margot, Emma Stone. Lily Gladstone versus Margot, Lily. Annette Bening, don't know yet. So they're, maybe. Carrie Mulligan all day. And Sandra Hüller. Yes. I will say yes, because that actor is a very moment-to-moment actor, which we'll go over later. My point is, I don't know. I don't think it's the patriarchy that he got nominated and she did it. Maybe other people deserved it more. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. That's just my opinion. But that is also the opinion of a half-white male. So I probably have no room to talk, maybe. I don't know. I do host a show where I talk about movies and television, so I like to think I have some sort of opinion. Should Margot Robbie even nominated for an Oscar? Yeah, sure. But compared to all these people, I would pick them over her, except for Annette Bening. I didn't watch it yet. Hopefully I don't get in trouble for saying that. Best director-wise versus Greta, the director of Anatomy of a Fall, Justine Triet. I would say, Greta could have been nominated for Best Director. I will give you guys that. I won't even go over this list, even though all of them are pretty top tier, specifically for the films I actually watched. I just don't. She already got nominated for Best Screenplay, and I think the film got nominated for, I don't know. And Margot Robbie produced it. So I think the reason they didn't nominate them for acting or for directing is because they already got nominations for producing and for writing. So that could be a reason. Anyways, the best pictures that were nominated go to The Holdovers. Very great film. American Fiction. Just saw it. Dope. Zone of Interest. Haven't watched it yet. Barbie. Very dope. Oppenheimer. Very dope. A little overrated. Poor Things. Super dope. Past Lives. Super dope. A little long. It might not actually been long, but it felt long. Anatomy of a Fall. Super dope. Maestro. Dope. Killers of the Flower Moon. Super dope. All right. We'll go over who I think should win and who's going to win later. I just want to go over the Oscar nominations in case you didn't know what was nominated for an Oscar. Next. Jon Stewart returns to The Daily Show. We mostly talk about fictitious television, but I love The Daily Show. I loved it with Trevor Noah, and I'm happy that Jon Stewart's back. I find it a little surprising that he's back, but the problem with Jon Stewart on Apple TV Plus got canceled, I think, for something that he was investigating. I don't know much about it, but I do know it had to do with his investigation team and how far they were going into foreign affairs or some shit that it kind of led to their cancellation. I'm not sure. So with them constantly getting guest hosts not filling the shoes, I'm not that surprised it got Jon Stewart, but it is definitely a happy new thing again. I like Jon Stewart. I'm excited to see him again. ThunderBolts loses its sparks. You'll notice I'm having more and more fun with these little news tiles that I have down here. I just think that's a funny pun. Now, what do I mean by Thunderbolts? What is Thunderbolts? Thunderbolts is the upcoming, I think the first team movie in a while for Marvel besides maybe the Eternals, but that doesn't really count. Thunderbolts is Natasha Romanoff, Florence Pugh, fucking who else? The dude from Stranger Things, Bucky's one of them, who's the Winter Soldier, and I can't think of anyone else. Who cares? It's a new Marvel movie that's supposed to be coming out that not many people are excited about. It's basically the anti-Avengers film where they're hired by, instead of Nick Fury, it's Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character who's been popping up recently. I think it'll be okay, but it's not looking good because Steven Yeun was going to play I think superhero or villain, which would have been really dope in the film, but he had to drop out due to scheduling conflicts. And then Io, same thing. I don't think she was supposed to play a hero or a villain. I think she was supposed to play a normal role. I'm not positive. But she dropped out due to scheduling conflicts after winning awards too, which I find interesting. I'm wondering if the awards made her think, you know what? I'm better than the MCU. Fuck this. I'm going to keep riding this dope train. And plus, I know she's going to have her own TV show because she's a fantastic writer. Make sure you watch Bottoms. It's great. Also, the show that they did together, her and the girl from Bottoms. Anyways, I'm very happy for her. She has been replaced with Gwendolyn Viswana. I think that's how you say her name. I'm not positive. I don't have the news up right now, but very happy for her. That's the main takeaway. I'm very happy for Steven for winning the awards. But am I happy for MCU for losing them? No, of course not. I think with them in that film, it would have helped gain some traction of people having interest in going to see it. Now there'll be a little less, but hopefully it's still good nonetheless. Next, now, before I show you the picture of the next subject, I'm going to show you the fun headline I have. Supercock. Now, can you guess what this news story is about? I promise it makes sense. And I promise you it doesn't have to do with a phallic object. In fact, it has to do with something different. It has to do with a woman. You thought when I said supercock, I would be talking about penis. You were wrong. I was actually talking about Millie Alcock. Is that her name? I'm probably saying it very wrong. Millie Alcock. Alcock. Millie Alcock. Millie Alcock. Millie Alcock. She's Australian, so I probably need an accent to say it. Millie Alcock. That's not Australian. Anyways, that chick from Game of Thrones, not Game of Thrones, House of the Dragons, that plays basically Minnie Khaleesi. I can't remember her name in House of Dragons. I'm not that big of a fan, but I do like, I like House of Dragons a lot. It's just, it's not like some people like it more than Game of Thrones, and it doesn't even need, it's a well-made show. Anyways, she's going to be Supergirl. This movie's supposed to be coming out next year, the year after. I'm not sure. But, I do find it funny that I guess it's not funny. I think that James Gunn didn't even consider the woman of color that we just had as Supergirl in The Flash. Instead, we went with like a pure white woman, but it's not a big deal. We don't have to, we don't have to do the thing. It is kind of shitty. I feel bad for the girl from The Flash is what I mean. And I doubt James Gunn said, no, color? I don't think so. We must get white, pale, Game of Thrones. And then goes for Millie. I don't think that. I just like making jokes to rile up people. And also, Millie's pretty good in House of Dragons. So Supergirl, why not? I think that this is just fine. I would rather people that we just straight up don't know get casted, like Superman. I don't know that dude. I know he was in an episode of that miniseries of John Barenthal, like We Own the Night or something. We Own the City. This girl, I think the only thing I've seen her in is House of Dragons. So this counts as like, hey, let's not cast Ariana Grande. That's a pop artist. But you see where I'm getting at? We're not casting a household name. And I think that's a good idea for this new universe with superheroes in general. Like, we got to get some new young actors in here, guys. Come on. They don't all have to be Angelina Jolie. And you get my point. That's the news. Oh, and I guess while we're on the subject, in case you're going to ask, Creature Commandos, an animated television series, will be the first part of the first chapter of the new James Gunn DC universe, which is supposed to be coming out sometime this year. They haven't announced when. Guess what? Severance is coming back. Let's have a dance party. I'm having fun with my little child. Let's have a dance party. Remember the scene from Severance? If you don't know what I'm talking about and why I'm spending so much time on this little bit, it's because Severance is one of the best television shows ever made, and not enough people are watching it. It's on Apple TV Plus. It's the only reason you should have Apple TV Plus, amongst other things, I suppose. But this is 100% the best. How do I describe it? I want to describe it without giving it away, but I try to sell it. You have to give it away a little bit in order for people to be interested. Me saying it's one of the best shows ever should be enough, but let's see what Google has to say, and maybe that will spark your interest. Mark leads a team of office workers whose memories have been surgically divided between their work and personal lives. When a mysterious colleague appears outside of work, it begins a journey to discover the truth about their jobs. If you had a 9-to-5 that you hated and you didn't want to remember any of it, because all you want to remember are the good times in life, not work, not being tired. You want to be fucking excited to wake up in the morning, and you don't really want to live the life of living inside of work. So what if you go into work and when you clock in, All of a sudden, the next second, you're clocking out. What happened in between? Well, a surgery divides your brain to where when you clock in, that's when the memories of the innie you, innies and outies, innie you, the person that goes inside this office building to work on a mysterious job, will live their life. And you don't have to remember what happened that day. But what about the person that was you while you worked? I probably lost you already, but try to follow me if you can. If you don't know what I'm saying, watch a trailer, watch the episode. Basically, the people inside the work, that's all they know is the job. That's it. They don't have the memories of the true self in the real world. Not to say that the world that they're in is fake, but you get the idea. The innie world is different from the outie world. It's a wild show. Watch it. Season 2 is back into production. I never told you what the news was. Season 2 is back into production. And it's very, very good news because they've been going through a lot of problems. I think they've been filming for the past on and off 2 or 3 years. And Ben Stiller produces it. He directs a lot of episodes. It's fucking dope. Watch the show. Severance, Apple TV+. Limelight shows. What's new? Well, the newest thing that came out is Griselda, which is... You're going to have to bear with me on some of these because I just walked in the door. And if anything... All right, the savvy and ambitious Colombian businesswoman, Griselda Blanco, creates one of the most profitable cartels in history. I didn't know it would be one of the most profitable. That's interesting. It starts off with a quote that says, "The scariest man I've ever met was a woman named Griselda Blanco." And that quote was by Pablo Escobar himself, according to the television show. I don't know if that's a true quote. I'm assuming it is. I never knew about this figure, but I was very down, especially because this comes from the producers of Narcos and Narcos Mexico. I didn't watch Narcos Mexico, and I only watched the first 2 seasons of Narcos. But excellent series. I will be watching the others. But the thing about Narcos and Narcos Mexico is even though I like watching foreign things, I don't mind reading what I'm watching because I have subtitles on all the time. There is something good about walking out of the room and hearing what's going on. When you don't speak the language, that means you have to watch that screen the whole time. And I have nothing wrong. It's kind of a breath of fresh air to watch a show like Griselda because most of it is in Spanish, so you have to read most of it if you don't know Spanish, which you should. You goddamn American. Don't only know one language. Learn 2, Tony. I'm talking to you. Anyways, it's a great show. I've only watched 2 episodes so far, but it is a limited series, 8 episodes long, or 6. It might be 6. Let's double check real quick. Does anyone know? Is anyone listening to me? It's 6 with the last episode called Adios Miami. So apparently she'll leave Miami. It's great. Sofia Vergara. Apparently, thank God, this is all makeup. Now, the reason I'm saying this all is because I knew the nose was worked on, but I was looking at her, I'm like, and I could tell the teeth are fake, but I was looking at her like, did she do a lot of weird plastic surgery? Because it looks fucking terrible. And apparently, she was on Drew Barrymore's show, and Sofia Vergara got pissed off at Drew Barrymore. You can find the clip online. She got pissed off at Drew Barrymore because Drew Barrymore was like, "Oh, wow, you had makeup on? I had no idea. I didn't notice the difference." And Sophia's like, I was sitting in that chair for hours. You better know the difference. I noticed the difference, Sophia, but I know what Drew was trying to say. The makeup is so good, it made me think you had bad plastic surgery. It's a compliment. But don't let it fool you because her acting is sexy as hell. And Sophia, of course, is. But her acting is so good. I got to admit, I'm very surprised. Modern Family, I didn't watch all of. I've caught a handful of episodes here and there. And she's fucking amazing at comedy. Excellent at comedy. And I remember her in Soul Plane with Kevin Hart back in the day. So, to be honest, I thought that she was the actor that was more about looks and being funny. And also kind of like, no, just really those 2 things. Even though I do find comedy to be a lot more difficult than people let on. I don't know she could do drama, to be honest. but she can. 100%. I'm super down with her getting an Emmy nomination. She better get an Emmy nomination next year. Super surprised. It's kind of like Ryan Gosling as Ken and Barbie. Like, I didn't think he was going to be that good. I thought he was going to be like more like wooden, not like fun and silly and shit, you know? Griselda is badass. She's reserved. I've only watched 2 episodes. I want more badass scenes in the show. I forgot. We should probably answer whether or not it's popping. Even though we're actually making really good time, more than usual. Anyways, popping or not, the show is popping. The only negatives, which are very small, are just some scenes where she's supposed to look like a badass. Again, I've only watched 2 episodes. But it's kind of like, like she's smart, but specifically, there's one scene I didn't like. She's giving out free coke to white people rich white people on a yacht, and the villainous other mob member comes out and says, "Hey, you got to stop. I'm not Southern, but apparently I am in this example." He basically takes Griselda by the hair and is like, "Don't buy coke from Griselda." And she goes, "Hey, he's trying to ruin our good time. Don't let him ruin our good time." And her partner or a guy she's trying to sell into business, he goes, "Hey, let her go. She's my business partner." And then he goes, "What?" And she goes, "Yeah, guys on the yacht, get him out of here. Yell at him, because he's trying to ruin our good time." And they're like, "Yeah, get out of here, gangster." And they start throwing drinks at him. And like, I called what the next line was going to be. This is what he did. He's holding the gun like, "Ooh, ooh, let's get out of here, boys." Like, or something like, he said a variation of that. "Let's get out of here. This isn't worth our time." And of course, we'll see them again, I'm sure. That scene I really didn't like. It wasn't badass. And of course, he leaves. And she goes, "Business partner?" And he goes, "Anyone that's pissing off the competition is doing something right, partner." Definitely paraphrasing all the dialogue. It's much better than what I just said, but that's what I heard. You hear with this, not your, well, I guess technically hear with this, but this is where you really hear from. Anyways, it is popping. It is definitely worth your time. I will be reporting back when I finish the series. But first, let's talk about some other things I saw. And I'm glad Jay Quillen wants Sophia to win an Emmy as well. Thank you for watching, Jay Quillen. True Detective. All right, I got a new opinion about this show after last episode. If you haven't watched True Detective, this new season is with a different showrunner named Issa Lopez, who has only done, as far as I can tell, that is worth watching. Maybe she's done shorts. I'm not going to pull up her IMDb right now. Film called Tigers Are Not Afraid, which is critically acclaimed. I haven't watched it yet, but I am excited to. Filmmaking-wise, writing-wise, if this show wasn't True Detective, I would like it more. It shares a lot of similarities with the, like, even though True Detective is an anthological series, it shares a lot of themes, such as, like, fantastical, otherworldly thoughts that can be synonymous to, what's it called when you hate everything? Not nihilism. That's where you don't believe in anything, but kind of not nihilistic. I would call the show altogether nihilistic. A true detective drinks a lot and also hates their life a lot, and also may have messed up memories of the past a lot, and maybe killed someone in the past and did a cover up with their partner. That was a slight spoiler because they don't go into detail, but that is something that has happened each season, I think. In any case, the show's all right. It's holding my interest. But this past episode, specifically the end, it just does a lot of corny things, man. There's 2 scenes that I didn't like in this new episode. One is where they talk to a icicle villain, and they just say, like, she's awake, and who's awake? Who? Give me a name. That's it. I'm sedating him. Give me a name. And they fall asleep or die. I don't know. I can't remember. I was rolling my eyes a lot. And then the final scene was them watching a video recording of a victim. And they're like, they're screaming on their cell phone and they're watching the cell phone in the middle of a hospital hallway and people are just walking by like they're not watching a video of someone screaming their fucking head off. Yeah, I hated that scene. It was very corny. It's just this season has a lot of tropes. It's a lot more tropey than the previous seasons. Now, I don't want to say it's not popping. I'm just saying it is definitely my least favorite season. Now, I told you guys about season 2 with Colin Farrell, Vince Vaughn, and Rachel McAdams and Taylor Kish was much better the second go round. I will say the first go round of Night Country is better than the first go round of True Detective season 2. So take that how you will. I will keep watching. I'm not quitting, but I really didn't like last episode. Oh, and John Hawkes is in this show. If you don't know who that is, he's the skinny white dude in this show. He's good. Make sure you watch his shit. We'll talk about him some other time. Death and Other Details. Didn't watch the new episode that came out today, but last week's was okay. It's a fun whodunit. I like whodunits. I saw this show at Planet Ant called The Last Voyage. If you ever have a chance, apparently they do it every once in a while. It's kind of like Murderville. This is only if you like, this isn't this show, so eyes on me. There's a show called Murderville with Will Arnett that's on Netflix. It's a scripted improv series where they have a new guest star each episode who plays a detective but doesn't know the case and has to solve the case on their own. It's basically a big improv game. For instance, there was Conan O'Brien and Marshawn Lynch and Sharon Stone and I can't think of any other people. Jason Bateman and Maya Rudolph. That's what The Last Voyage was. And it's a fun whodunit where the audience is trying to figure out who done it as well. And we also ended up being right. And the detective, Mr. Mosier, also figured it out. Anyways, if you have a chance, check it out. Death and Other Details is a whodunit. If you like whodunits like Knives Out or Murder on the Orient Express or Death on the Nile, you'll like this show. Ted! On Peacock. Hilarious. If you like Seth MacFarlane, you'll love the show. I still haven't finished it. Snowfall. The show's been out for a very long time, but I'm finally finishing the series because Princess Sophia watched it without me, and I finally got around to finishing it on my own. I just started the final season, and oh boy, holy shit! I rewatched the season 5, the second to last season, at work in like 2 days. It's so good. I can't believe I disliked last season or that season. It's so fucking good. Damson Idris and this show need Emmys ASAP. The cinematography is excellent. The writing's excellent. Just such a great show. If you haven't watched Snowfall, check it out on Hulu. Sincerely, one of the most badass shows. I used to like, I will say Franklin Saint's still a great gangster. Don't get me wrong. Franklin Saint. He's also got a really cool accent. I always go too Southern. The only thing I will say about Franklin Saint is he is moody. And when he gets moody, he will react instead of conjure a plan. Like he's reactive. Like, you fuck me over, I'll fuck you back. That's my Franklin Saint. That's where he usually yells. I don't know if that's any good. I mean, you can let me know in the comments. Damson Idris is really damn good. Very good actor. But excellent show. Sincerely, one of the best gangster shows I've ever watched. Gangster shows. Check it out. It's on Snowfall. Don't tell me how it ends because I'm very excited to watch it. The rest of it. All right, let's talk about some honorable mentions right quick. These consist of movies or television shows that I didn't have time for or weren't interested enough in watching anyway. Literally, I didn't have time to watch anything else besides the new shit that we're about to talk about. Masters of the Air. It's about fucking fighter pilots. I don't know what you wore, but I know Austin Butler, you know, Elvis Presley Jr. Not literally the guy who played Elvis Presley and Elvis. The guys who did like Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg, I think are involved in this. And they did Band of Brothers and The Pacific. When I found that out, I got more excited for this. Not excited enough to remember that it came out, but it started. And it's on Fridays on Apple TV+. It's a television show. Hopefully it's good. Expats. I don't know much about this show. All I know is that Nicole Kidman's in it and it's on Fridays on Prime. I don't know if the whole season's out or not. Maybe it is. Who knows? Miller's Girl. This is a film that stars Martin Freeman and Jenna Ortega. It's about a creative writing assignment that yields complex results between a teacher and his talented student. It looks like a very interesting subject with very good writing. I just wasn't impressed with the trailer. I love these actors, so I'm down. I just don't think I think the movie's going to end up not going to pop. Also, real quick, I should probably say Expats probably not going to pop because I don't even know what it's about. Masters of the Air probably going to pop if it's from the guys who did Band of Brothers and The Pacific. Back to Miller's Girl after that. I mean, Sometimes I Think About Dying is about a lonely and socially awkward woman played by Daisy Ridley who tries to make a connection with a friendly new coworker who takes her out on a date. I compared the viewing of the trailer to how I felt when I watched I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore, which is on Netflix. It stars Melanie Linsky and Elijah Wood. Highly recommend it. In fact, I super recommend it because I mentioned this last week. And Robin from, what's the show that we were just in? Edna and Grace had taken my suggestion, and she told me, like, hey, I watched that movie. It was really good. I was like, oh, cool. Really? I was surprised. It's cool when you suggest a movie and you don't need to tell someone what it's about, and they take it on faith. Like, okay, I'll try it. And then they tell you back, like, hey, I watched that. And to be honest, I think I should have put a picture up. I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore is one of those films that not enough people have watched for sure. But it's really good. Anyways, Sometimes I Think About Dying. I haven't watched yet, but I think check out the trailer. I think you'll know what I'm talking about when this is a great opportunity for Daisy Ridley to flex a little bit on screen instead of just being like the action star. You know, I feel like she didn't have much to work with in the Star Warses, but I'm excited for this. I think that she'll be good. Godzilla Black and White. I don't think I'm going to watch this, guys. It's only in theaters for a few more days. I highly recommend to watch this goddamn movie, especially in theaters, even if it is in black and white. This is an excellent idea. The original was in black and white. This is going to be like watching a fucked up documentary that's super high valued about a crazy-ass monster attack. It's so good. It might be the best Godzilla. It's definitely top 3. I'm telling you, it's so good. Godzilla -1. Go check it out. The colored version is not in theaters right now, but I have a feeling this is going to be great. And I had a friend, John, shout out to John from Edna and Grace. He played the zombie in case you saw the show. He had said that was his first viewing of the movie, which was in black and white. And he said it was excellent. But he goes, but I want to see it in color. And I do think that the black and white might take away a lot of things like the power-up scenes with Godzilla. But I really want to check this out in black and white. Hopefully this version will be available on streaming because I am not going to have time to see it in theaters unless I skip work. Don't tell my boss. I'm probably not going to skip work. That'd be crazy. Sexy Beast. Remember that movie that came out a while ago? You can watch it on Paramount Plus if you want. Well, they made a TV show. It's on Paramount Plus Thursdays. I don't know if the whole season's out, but I do know the show's out. I've read not good things, but I found it interesting that they made a television prequel to the film. Badland Hunters is about after a major earthquake, Seoul. I always say Seoul. I think it's Seoul, South Korea. Transforms into an apocalyptic wasteland where everything from civilization to law and order has collapsed. I mean, look, looks like he's fighting a crocodile or an alligator. I don't know the difference, but I do know the difference between badassery and softness, and that's badass. The trailer looked interesting. I think the movie's going to be interesting. I'll probably put it on the background at work. Although I think it's Korean, so I'll have to watch it. Looks good. Poppin' or not, probably poppin'. Spotlight Films. Let's talk about American Fiction first. I just saw this today. So if you don't know what this movie is, don't pause this and watch the trailer. Listen to the sound of my voice first, because the trailer is very different from what the movie is, and I'm very happy about that. On the surface, this is a story about a Black author that hasn't been published for his intelligent literature and decides to make a surprisingly popular book that caters to white saviors in America by depicting African Americans in a stereotypical light. You watch the trailer, you see a comedy where Jeffrey Wright's character sees Issa Rae's character, Issa Rae's great in it, by the way. Only a few scenes though. She plays an author who writes about growing up in the hood and uses like hood vernacular, hood slang, all that shit. And it's Jeffrey Wright's character. It's huge. Jeffrey Wright writes intelligent stuff. Putting that in quotations because it's like, well, what is intelligent and what isn't? What is good and what is bad? What is on the market and what isn't? Is selling something just for selling towards the market, selling out, or is it thriving forward? Like, there's a lot of different themes in this film. But anyways, the comedic aspect of it is he decides to write a fake autobiography called The Pathology about a gangster in the hood that went to prison and ended up shooting a cop. I can't remember what happens in the fake book, but he, again, autobiographical. So he does it as like a statement, as like a fuck you to you goddamn white author companies, book companies. I don't know fucking words. I don't know how to read. You know, the publishing companies, the book people, the white book people. Fuck you to you guys. You don't really actually know literature. You only want to sell a stereotype, which is either about gangsters or about slaves. Same with film, I think he says. In fact, yeah, the film is brought up in the film where the only thing that's popular that centers on more of a black narrative is slavery and gangster shit. I think there's a third element too. I can't remember what it is, but it's basically like torture porn that white people enjoy and call it like brave and all that shit, when it's really catering to them to feel bad, but have a way to not feel bad by saying that was brave of you to make that film about us fucking you over, and catering to a stereotype. Anyways, you get the point. So he has his agent send it out to publishing companies as a like, fuck you, not thinking it get picked up, but it gets picked up. And they want to meet this author, Stag something. I can't remember the last name. And he decides to like, he only talks on the phone and he talks hood and acts like he is on the run from the FBI or something, and that he's an informant. I can't remember. Some wild shit that he never thought was going to be that. That's what the surface is of the plot outline of the film that you think you're about to see. That's what you see in the trailer. And when I'm watching the trailer, personally, I was like, I don't think that this is funny because it's too true. But also, I feel like that isn't this kind of doing the same thing in a little ways. It almost reminded me of Sorry to Bother You, but Sorry to Bother You was so irreverent and had other elements to this fantastical world that it worked. And that was a funny premise, but I felt like this was done in a very similar way, where the shtick or the gimmick is a educational, intelligent, non-hood black man talking as if he never had an education or is intelligent either, if that makes sense, or is intelligent in the whatever his fake character would be described as. And I was like, if this is the gimmick, I don't know if this will be a good film, but Jeffrey Wright and Issa Rae are in it. I'm down. I didn't know Sterling K. Brown was in it. I didn't know Tracy Ellis Ross is in it, which I got to tell you, she's got to be one of my favorite actresses. Actors, excuse me. I'm always super excited to see her work. I held on to that Eddie Murphy Christmas movie, like Candy Cane Lane. It's not a terrible movie. It's not bad. It's just like the whole time you're watching it, you're thinking, Eddie Murphy, when are you going to come out with a regular non-family comedy that might be a hard R? We missed that, Eddie Murphy. Where's strong, on the border, PG-13 Eddie Murphy? Where's Nutty Professor? What's that movie called? Norbit. Where's Norbit, Eddie Murphy? Anyways, the reason I held on to Candy Cane Lane is because I really like Tracy Ellis Ross. And yeah. Girlfriend. Sterling K. Brown was nominated for an Oscar, I think, for this film. He's really good in it. But so was Jeffrey Wright. Acting, phenomenal. But the movie itself is a lot less about that long-winded explanation of what the film is about from the trailer that I just told you. It's about a guy that's going through some heavy family shit, man. At first, I didn't know if I liked the movie because I was like, tonally, I don't know what the hell I'm watching. I thought this was going to be a comedy, but this isn't funny. Like, I thought it was like not, I thought it was a comedy that was written poorly, but no, it's a drama with comedic elements and jokes every now and again that fall more flat than the actual heart of the story, which is about this guy who loses a family member and also has to find out how to take care of his mother who's experiencing Alzheimer's. So it's fucking heavy. But it's like tonally, it goes up and down. I remember there was one part where he's searching for his mom who's missing and has Alzheimer's. And they show what she's doing. She's walking on a beach in her nightgown and her slippers. And I didn't tear up, but I got like flustered because that was one of the scariest scenes I've ever seen. I know some people, probably a lot of people in the world, have experienced family members that have Alzheimer's. I've never experienced that, and that looks scary as hell. Having it or being a family member of it. It's scary as hell. So for this character, Thelonious, to go through this was really a really interesting thing to add to a character of this wild story. The wildness of it is not in the movie that much, and I dug that. If it was centered on that more, I wouldn't have dug it. Basically, the trailer tricked me, and I was happy that it tricked me because those were the bits that I really liked about the film, was the shit that he's going through. His relationship with the neighbor, I really liked that. I think when she was introduced, the movie picked back up. She was great in it. Max from Living Single. Anyways, who else? Sterling K. Brown was great in it. He was a gay character that, like, I think he was married to a woman, and she caught him with a man. So he's apparently he just found out he was gay. So he goes, basically every time you see him, he's doing coke and like fucking a bunch of dudes. They don't show said fucking, but he's having a weird gay midlife crisis, and it's just wild elements around him. But what you're seeing him experience is actually kind of cool because he felt like rejected by the family. He never really cared about his mom. He certainly didn't care about his dad. And he finds, he finds solace through a different family member, but not by blood. That's all I'll say. But that storyline was kind of interesting. But Jeffrey Wright is fucking dope. He knocks it out of the park, as always. I think I'll have to look at the Best Actor nominees again. To be honest, I might want someone else to win more. Not to say Jeffrey Wright didn't do well, because it's Jeffrey Wright. He's amazing. I guess it's because I wanted more emotions from the character. I thought he played it just right, but I felt like writing-wise, they could have put him in situations where he like really breaks down. I want to see a breakdown from this character. But you know, that's kind of in general, I kind of want to see a breakdown from this character, but especially during Oscar season, like, hey man, give him a breakdown scene, give him that Oscar winning clip, you know. Poppin' or not, it is poppin'. You don't need to see it in theaters. Although it's a very easy watch. I don't know how long it is, but it didn't feel too long. I only got up to use the bathroom once. And no, I don't have a bladder problem. It's because I drink an energy drink that makes me piss like crazy. And like crazy means twice in like an hour, which maybe I have a bladder problem. Anyways, go see it or don't. It's in theaters right now, but it'll probably be in streaming services very soon. A surprise. Whoop. Shit. All right, I guess we're talking about Anatomy of a Fall first. How can you see it? You have to rent it, bitch. Because Anatomy of a Fall, which is about... I don't have this plot outline out, so bear with me. This is kind of in English, but mostly in French and English, about a woman who has an interview with someone, and their blind son is it goes out to walk the dog. The woman's interview gets interrupted by loud music played by the husband upstairs. The interview ends abruptly. The interviewee or the interviewer leaves. Meanwhile, the blind son and his dog come back home to the dad on the snowy ground with blood all around, kind of like that. And the mom is inside. So the question is, was it a fall? And was it on purpose if it was? Was it on accident? Or was there foul play? Interesting, isn't it? I'll tell you one thing about the movie. It wasn't interesting at all. No, I'm just kidding. No, it was good. I want to say something. I won't say it. You might not like the ending. But if you want to see it to watch like really good French filmmaking, check it out. Real quick, Poppin or not, I will say not Poppin for the general audience. It's a really good mystery, and it has a lot of interesting themes, like specifically with language. I haven't quite figured out what it is with that. With sociopathy, I don't know if that's a word, but I'm making it a word now because the woman's a sociopath for sure. 100%. And that's not a spoiler. I'm talking about with certain situations. Maybe she murdered and she's a sociopath in that way. Or maybe she's just seems like such a sociopath in other situations. But she kind of is. I don't know. It's interesting. I can't really talk that much about it without giving up too much. But the actor that played the woman in it, I'm not going to look up her name because that requires typing. I don't want to type right now because I'm on a roll with words. Was great. I see why she was nominated. A moment-to-moment actor. We need to make a dictionary of like Poppin terms that I like to use to make myself feel more sophisticated, but it really probably makes me more pretentious. A moment-to-moment actor to me is where even their eyes never break character, where in between lines you can see what they're thinking without them saying a word. Examples would be the girl in this, Daniel Day-Lewis, probably Gary Oldman. Man, I can't think of others. I used to have a really good list of this. Oh, Paul Giamatti for sure. Maybe even Jeffrey Wright. It's kind of hard to say, but they're usually character actors that are not household names. So who isn't a character actor? I think for some reason, the one that comes to mind most of the time is Julia Roberts. I love Julia Roberts. My grandpa hates her. I just found that out. Didn't need to tell you that, but I'm telling you now. And the reason he hates her is because she's fake. Like when she wins an award and stuff, or where she laughs in interviews, she goes, so fucking fake. And I'm like, oh, you probably hate Anne Hathaway, right? And he goes, oh, I loathe Anne Hathaway. And I'm like, I love Anne Hathaway. But I know exactly what he's talking about. In any case, I love Julia Roberts. And I for real think she's a great actress. I didn't love Erin Brockovich, but she's a great actress. She's done better shit to win, to get nominated for. Anyways, in between lines, sure, she's acting, but you don't know what she's thinking. Like in Ocean's 11, when Danny Ocean first approaches Julia Roberts, she stares at him and looks pissed off. But that's about it. That's all you can gather. When he's talking, you just see a pissed off ex-wife. When you watch Anatomy of a Fall and you see her in court, you see what she's thinking. When she's thinking of her son, when she's thinking that she fucked up a lie or the truth, or what she's thinking when she's saying something, but she's really thinking something else. When she's in an argument in a flashback scene with her husband, you can just see what she's thinking without dialogue. And I think that takes a phenomenal asset of acting that not many people can tap into. So for that, I think you should watch it for that acting. Super dope. She's apparently in Zone of Interest, which is also nominated for an Academy Award. I'm very excited to watch that. In any case, this is Poppin for those fans of French cinema because you'll love the pacing. You'll love the way that they do flashbacks is really cool. I don't want to explain too much. And the weirdest takeaway from this movie, no one talks about it, but the guy falls. I just can't tell you how he falls. It's two a cover of a song, and that song is PIMP by 50 Cent. 50. It's PIMP. I don't know what you heard about me. You can't get $1 out of me. No Cadillac, no birds, you can't see. Hope I got the lyric right. When motherfucking PIM. Why is this the song? I was thinking, oh, because it's a cover of that song. It's basically just the beat, but with I don't know the instrument. Anyways, when I heard it, I'm like, oh, because it's a French film. I'm like, oh, so PIMP, their beat is based off of this song. This is the original song. But in the court, they're like, isn't it true that the body was found to cover of legendary artist 50 Cent's PIMP misogynistic track of 2000 whatever. I added some words there, but they do talk about the misogyny behind the song PIMP by 50 Curtis Jackson Cent. I just thought that was super weird. It was weird. I don't know. That was a weird choice, but I loved it. And you can find an article online. If you're friends with me on Facebook, you'll see it. It's why she chose that song, the writer-director. And it fits. It fits. Anyways, Poppin' or not, if you like French cinema or you like cinema, not just a movie, check it out. If you just want to see a movie about maybe murder that's similar to The Staircase or Love and Death, this is kind of your movie, but it's not your movie. If you're looking for that, watch those instead. Love and Death's on Max. What was the other one I just said? The Staircase is on Max. Yeah. That you will want to watch that instead. If you want to watch a film, watch Anatomy of a Fall. I liked it a lot, but to be honest, I thought it was going to be better, and it might be because maybe I wanted like another hour of a movie. It's a long movie too. It's 2.5 hours long, and I loved almost every second of it. There are a lot of scenes that are longer than others, but that's cinema, baby. It's just I don't know. I wanted a little more. But you can be the judge of yourself by renting it, bitch. Next. What is next? Okay, now we'll talk about the UnderDoggs, which is on Prime. What a delight! I was shocked. Think Bad News Bears, but with football and Snoop Dogg. Except Snoop Dogg used to be like a running back, wide receiver. I don't know. He used to be in the NFL. Come on, guys. You're not fooling anybody. It's a silly movie. Full disclosure, I didn't finish it. Not because I didn't like it. I started it at work, hoping that I would get out of work early enough to finish it before Popcorn Poppin' tonight, but I didn't. So I'm like halfway through, and I wasn't going to talk about it till next week. And I might maybe I'll mention the second half, but it's just fun. It's super fun. It opens up with a disclaimer of like a funny disclaimer of like warning this movie has a lot of bad adult language in it, but chill the fuck out. It's just a movie. Ha ha ha. But it is funny. It's constantly him screaming at the kids like, you motherfucker, you motherfucker. And that's, I don't know, a lot more enjoyable than I thought it was going to be. But every time they talk about him being a football star, it's like, come on, man. Before, when I was talking about this movie with someone else, I'm like, look, I'm not saying I'd fight Snoop Dogg. If anything, maybe he'd step on me because I know he's a tall motherfucker. And, you know, it's Snoop Dogg. He's a gangster. But I think I can say he's frail. He's not a guy that looks like he ever played football. Maybe that he played football, but no. He's so frail. Anyways, no offense, Snoop Dogg. I think that's kind of like the joke, too, because when they show flashback scenes, it shows George Lopez as regular George Lopez, and when current old Snoop Dogg sees George Lopez again, he hasn't aged a day, but they used like a young, athletic looking actor to play Snoop Dogg. It was silly, but it adds to the silliness. Poppin', it's super fun. Check it out. I don't think too much about it. Really don't. I thought I had low expectations because of Mac and Devin went to high school. I was down for this movie either way, but I was scared it was going to be Mac and Devin go to high school. Whoever said that was a good movie, you're out of your fucking mind. I get it's a stoner movie, but there's a difference between making a good stoner movie and getting stoned and making a movie. That shit sucked. I hated it. I hated it. I hated it. This is great. This is fantastic. I love it. I love it. All right. Next, Napoleon. Rent it, ho, if you want to watch it. I would recommend, you don't need to. I mean, maybe you will. I don't know. If you like Ridley Scott and you're a ride or die, not willing to admit that lately his movies haven't been that great, looking at you, House of Gucci, you fucking sucked. Then, watch Napoleon. Joaquin Phoenix is good in it. And apparently this is like the fastest film Ridley Scott has made. Apparently this is a lot of quick takes. You can tell Joaquin made a lot of choices to be very unlikable in this. And a lot of mistakes happened that I feel like because of budget or just because he didn't want to do the movie anymore. There's a lot, like there's scenes where like his hat falls off and he picks it up. And you can tell at least 90% of them, it wasn't on purpose. But Joaquin keeps going with the scene as great actors do. But those kind of scenes happen and you're like, I feel like they should have did another take of this because this looks stupid. When a certain divorce is signed, it's a weird scene that like is supposed to be uncomfortable and supposed to look realistic. And I get that, but I don't know. They focus more on the Napoleon complex of Napoleon rather than like shining him in a more positive light. I know nothing about Napoleon Bonaparte, nor have I ever said I was a fan of his. I just didn't think it was going to be this negative. Like, I felt bad for the guy. I'm like, wow, you guys are making him look like a total dick. I don't know anything, nothing about him except he's short. But I won't say poor guy. This guy is probably a piece of shit. I don't know. That's what the movie seemed to say. Basically imprisoned this poor girl. That relationship, Vanessa Kirby's excellent in it. Maybe should have honestly been nominated. Maybe not more than Barbie. I'm sorry, more than Margot Robbie. Maybe not. Margot Robbie was really good. Maybe she deserved a nomination. I'm just not going to get that pissed off about it. Anyways. Napoleon, Poppin or not? I'm going to say not. I thought the war scenes were really good. I think it's an all right movie, but I see why it wasn't liked. It's hard to explain. I just didn't dig it. I didn't. Overall, I really like Ridley Scott. I just don't think his movies are that great anymore. And he's got to make something else to get back into my good graces, because you'd be so lucky to get my good graces. But maybe you'll like it. I don't know. Next. Okay, I think I'm still alive. Haha. Night Swim. Don't ask why no, ask me. Why'd you watch it, Tony? I was genuinely excited for this stupid horror movie. All right, it's a horror movie, but about public pools. Who's supposed to be scared of them? Black people? No. In fact, I don't think we'll have any black people in this movie. Like that's what you should market it for. If you're going to make a horror movie about public pools. By the way, there are some scary scenes in this film that center on a pool, not a public pool, by the way, it's a backyard pool, that center on a pool. And guess what? It ain't during the night. There are day swims in this that are scary. Let's make a compliment sandwich or constructive criticism sandwich. Had some really cool shots. Really cool shots. I really liked the female lead in this. I actually liked her a lot. I've seen her before. It's sad that because I don't think she's ever been a lead before. I don't believe so. I'm not pulling her up. But I felt bad because I thought that she could get something better. And Wyatt Russell's in it. Is there anything thematically that I enjoyed? I don't think so. Nope. All right. Constructive criticism. What did I just watch? Is this a comedy? I don't know. Halfway through, man, I watched this. I streamed this, and I I don't regret watching it. In fact, if you like watching even bad movies, I love bad horror movies. I love any horror. Horror is so fun, especially when it's bad. This movie is bad. Like, it does some weird shit. Like the water. It's basically the water. It's not the pool. It's the water in the pool. I gotta go back to put me back in just for a minute. I do think that the actual storyline of why we should be scared of this pool is cool. Basically, this family moves in, and the guy is the music might be good. I might say the music's good in this movie. But Wyatt Russell plays an baseball star suffering from some sort of disease that like has him like debilitated. Basically, he walks with a cane, sometimes in a wheelchair. Is sick all the time, losing weight. He's not in MLB anymore. He's not a major baseball star anymore. So he's spending at home at time with his family. And his doctor helps them decide to buy the house by saying, hey, have you tried swimming? And like, oh, this house comes with a pool. Maybe I'll like this. So he swims, and oh my God, he's stronger. In fact, he plays a game of baseball, knocks the ball out of the park, even cracks the ball. He becomes super fucking human. He's infatuated with the pool. He can't leave the pool. And if he leaves the pool, he starts to get sick again. So, what do? I won't tell you what he does, but it's stupid. It's not Poppin. It's not a good movie. You may enjoy it. If you want to watch a stupid fucking movie, watch this movie. I will say the storyline of the movie is dumber. The reason I'm so angry at this movie is just it's so fucking stupid. It's so stupid that anyone gave money to someone saying, what about a horror movie? But the thing to be scared of is a pool. Like, oh, take my money. Night swim. Like, call it something else, like Pool of Death or something. I don't know. Oh, and there's like ghosts, and they look stupid. They look terrible. Granted, apparently this was a short film that someone said, hey, let's make a movie out of this. So I guess as a short film, it might work. I didn't watch it. I don't want to watch it. The movie sucked. But I will say the main actor, lead girl was good. And there was some really cool shots, fairly good editing, actually. There were elements to this movie where I thought, hey, this guy could be a good filmmaker. Just don't fucking write anymore. Public pool. It's not public, just pools. That's it. Here's what's coming out next week, guys. I'm very excited for Argyle, which I believe I spelled wrong. It's about a novelist who writes about fake like James Bond character played by Henry Cavill, coincidentally on the most wanted list of the new James Bond. So apparently she writes the book so well that these crimes are actually happening. The secret government agencies are trying to kidnap her. I stayed away from the trailer. I don't want to read what the plot is because I don't want to give it away. But it looks like a fun action comedy with Bryce Dallas Howard, Sam Rockwell, Samuel L. Jackson, I think John Cena, Dua Lipa, Henry Cavill. I don't know who else. It looks good. Matthew Vaughn directed it. He did The Kingsman, The Kick-Ass. He produced. He did Layer Cake. He produced The Snatch. I think this movie looks fun. It's got a cat in it. I love how movies. That's really what you got to do to make money. That's the trick to make money. That's how I know my mom is going to want to see a movie. Is if you put a cat in the trailer. Because I know my mom saw a trailer of this and didn't give a fuck what the movie was about. Just saw this little adorable cat that they keep showing and having meows in it. If you watch a trailer of a movie that looks shitty and you have an audience full of people, you will hear people go, this looks stupid if the cat's not shown. But if they play like, it's okay, Mr. Whiskers, and they show a cat and you hear the generic sound effect of meow, then all of a sudden you'll see, I'll see this. It's got cats. I love cats. But besides the fucking cat, this looks like a really fun movie. Check out the trailer and tell me otherwise. In fact, come with me to go see it Thursday at AMC. Probably crash it. We'll see, though. My car is going to be out of service, so I don't know. How to have sex in select theaters Friday, question mark? This is not how-to on how to have sex. I think it's about a serious subject. I don't know what happens in the movie, but check out the trailer. It looks like a very well-made indie film about a girl who I believe is a virgin, who goes out partying one night and ends up missing the next day. But I don't think it's about her being missing. I think they find her and something bad happened last night, but the trailer doesn't tell you what it is. So I think it's like a really heavy movie because I think you can tell from the picture what probably happened to her. I don't like watching movies like this. I don't think I will watch this because it's heavy, but it looks well made, I will say. Next, Bosco on Peacock. What's this movie about? I wrote it down. It looks all right. Based on the story of, sorry for butchering your name, Quante Bosco Adams, sentenced to 35 years for attempted possession of marijuana? What? Attempted possession of marijuana, 35 years? Yeah, I'm going to have to watch this movie. How the fuck is that even possible? With the help of a woman from a Lonely Hearts ad, he escapes to see his daughter, but is forced to take responsibility for his past. It looks all right. I think the trailer's not that good, but the movie's good. It stars Thomas Jane, Aubrey Joseph, Javivica A. Fox, Tyrese, Theo Rossi, and DC Youngfly. This is on Peacock Friday. Poppin' or not, I think it'll be poppin'. I just don't think it'll be like the best thing to come out this weekend. Will Orion in the Dark be the best thing then, Tony? What is it about, you may ask? It's a kid's movie. I don't really have to tell you what it's about, but I will because I actually thought the trailer looks kind of interesting. The thing Orion fears the most is the dark. When the embodiment of his worst fear pays a visit, Dark whisks Orion away on a roller coaster ride around the world to prove there is nothing to be afraid of at night. It's like the embodiment of Dark kidnaps him. But they have fun things. But there's also, it's kind of like Inside Out. Like there's also sleep that helps you fall asleep, and light, which helps you wake up in the morning. Like, I don't know. It looks interesting. Check out the trailer. If you have kids and you want to put on something to help them shut the fuck up and leave you alone, Orion in the Dark is on Netflix. I like telling you about kids' movies because I know a lot of you are parents and are looking for movies to just put on in the background so you can have a fucking moment of silence. Feud, the Capote versus the Swans. I don't know this story, and I don't like Ryan Murphy. But there's some shows that he makes that are good. I will admit it. I haven't watched Ratchet. I want to watch Ratchet. I liked a couple seasons of American Horror Story. I love Nip Tuck. I don't think there's anything else. I liked that Bobby Cannavale show. The Letters or the Home, or, the one where they get letters at the house. What was that movie called? Who cares? This one is the second season of the anthological Feud, where season 1 was about co-stars of Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, Joan Crawford, and Bette Davis, two of the most prolific actors in the history of Hollywood, who had a famous feud while shooting the 1962 film. That starred Susan Sarandon and Jessica Lange. This new season is about Truman Capote, who is the toast of the New York Society, but a dishy excerpt published in Esquire magazine threatens to topple him from his precarious perch. Tom Hollander, not Tom Holland. Tom Hollander. He played a villain in Pirates 2 and 3. Plays Capote. Diane Lane, Naomi Watts, Demi Moore, Chloe Savini, Callista Flockhart, Ally McBeal, guys. I haven't seen Ally McBeal since Ally McBeal. Harrison Ford had her fucking locked in a basement this whole time. Molly Ringwald. I don't know. The trailer looks good. Like, this looks like a really good show. I'm not going to lie. They got long necks. Pretty sure that's photoshopped for the picture to look like swans. Poppin' or not, I think if you like Ryan Murphy, you're going to end up loving this show. Poppin' for the general audience, I guess. I think this looks like a well-made show, to be honest. Dahmer is a show that I know is good. I just didn't enjoy watching it. I still haven't finished it. I don't want to. Usually I like serial killer shit, but I don't like that one. I don't like it. Next, Genius, another anthological series based on real historical figures. The first season was Albert Einstein. The second season was Aretha Franklin, I think. And there might be another season I'm missing. Let's find out real quick. But basically, each season is about a famous historical figure, as I just said. You ever hate it when you have a lisp and you can hear yourself say it sometimes? Wow, there are 4 seasons, so I'm missing one more. There's Aretha Franklin. Real quick, hurry up before you lose your audience. All right, Einstein was season 1. Picasso with Antonio Banderas was season 2. I gotta watch that. And Aretha Franklin was season 3 with Cynthia Arrivo. I wanted to watch that. Anyways, next season is with MLK and Malcolm X. I think it'll be very good. I hear Genius is a great show. I haven't watched it yet. Because when you hear about a show that's on National Geographic Channel and you don't like watching National Geographic or documentaries in general, you don't really want to watch the show. But it's a fictional, like it's based off of real events. It's, it looks good, you know. So who plays MLK, you may ask? Kelvin Harrison Jr. from a movie called Luce or Lucy, Luce. It's very good. It's with Tim Roth, and Naomi Watts. A very good film. Check it out. Chevalier, which I didn't watch, and Cyrano, which I didn't watch. I just do know I liked Luce or Lucy, and he's really good in it. Who plays Malcolm X? Aaron Pierre is the name. He was in a movie called Brother that came out last year that looks okay. Old, M. Night Shyamalan's Old. What a movie. He played the only black guy in it, and he played in the miniseries Underground Railroad, which I still have to watch. I think this will be poppin'. I think it'll be educational. I think it'll be dope. Just in time for Black History Month. This is what I'm most excited about this weekend. The whole season of Mr. and Mrs. Smith will be dropping on Prime this Friday. It stars and is written by, at least he does some writing. Probably, I don't think he show runs the show. I think he only wrote like the pilot and maybe like the finale. But it is from the writers of Atlanta. Brings you the television version of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. If you didn't see the Angelina Jolie, Brad Pitt rom-com action-y, check it out on Prime right now. It's fucking dope. I don't care what anyone says. I think it's super underrated. It's very well made. Doug Liman, who directed it, he did Edge of Tomorrow and The Bourne Identity. Excellent director. Did a great job. Check it out. See it. If you don't know what it's about a married couple who find out that the husband finds out that his wife is a hitman working for an agency, but he's a hitman that works for an agency, and they're both tasked with killing each other. It's a really good movie. You should check it out. The show's a little different. It is I think I tried to stay away from the trailer, but what I've gathered is it's about 2 agents or assassins posing as a married couple who fall in love with each other. So I don't know if I'm right. We'll find out Friday, but I'm so excited. It looks so good. If you don't know who the chick is, you really should. She's from Pen 15, Maya Erskine. Yeah, that's her name. Excellent actor. She was also the voice of Blue-Eyed Samurai and Blue-Eyed Samurai. She's in something else too. Oh, +1 with that Quaid, the little Quaid boy, little Quaid boy from the Boys. All right, I sound crazy. She's a very great actor. So I'm very excited for the show. Check it out. Check out the first trailer. I watched it from beginning to end. The first trailer doesn't reveal too much. It looks dope. I'm excited. It means Dong Lover, y'all. All right, we're almost done. The last television show we'll talk about is Curb Your Enthusiasm. If you haven't watched it, you're missing out. It's fucking amazing. Better than Seinfeld. I said it. love this show so much. But you don't need to watch Seinfeld to watch this. But I will recommend to watch Seinfeld before watching this because there's a season about a Seinfeld reunion. So anyways, the final season is coming to a start on Sunday at 10 o'clock on HBO, streaming on Max at the same time. I believe this is season like 14. The whole show is great. If you think that a comedy that centers around an old, bald white man is going to be dated or like not with the times, I was shocked that he came back in a Me Too era. Not to say that I ever thought Larry David was like a creep or anything like that, but he's great at poking fun at serious topics like that, and he does so with his newer episodes. So I'm excited to see what he makes fun of next season, but I'm also excited to see what's going to happen to Larry David. I do know that he wanted to kill off his character seasons ago. I don't think he'll do that anymore, but it would be funny if he did. And the final thing that's not a TV show that's coming out next week that I don't give a fuck about, but you might. If Nikki and Megan are going to be there, I care a little bit more. The Grammys will be on CBS and Paramount Plus this Sunday. That's it. That's all she wrote. If you didn't see Edna and Grace, go fuck yourself. But I'm not that mad at you. It was a really fun show. I had a really fun time. You'll never be able to watch it. It'll never be on again. But there may be a movie adaptation. I'm looking at you, Tish Delano. I don't know if I said your last name right, but I'm looking at you, Tish. And if there is a film version, I'd love to be in it. But I'm not in a new play. We're going to wait for auditions, hopefully a month from now. I'm taking a break. But I am working on something else. I'm actually working on two something else's, but one is Poppin related. And we have begun writing. I'm very excited. It's a special episode. I don't want to reveal what it is quite yet, but I will review. Oh my God, I need to go to bed. I will reveal that it will come out next month. Probably the same day as the Oscars or at the end of the month. Wink, wink. That should probably be a clue. All right, guys. Go make sure you see. I should always tell you what we're going to talk about next week. What we will talk about next week is Argyle, which is in theaters right now. Is that it? Is that all I'm going to talk about? Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Curb Your Enthusiasm, and Genius, MLK, Malcolm X. All right? All right.